All right, everybody. We are just barely getting started here. We're going live for our second live of the day, you guys. Usually, this is my late night live stream, but we're doing it a little bit earlier today. I wanted to, try it out a little bit earlier. See, I haven't really done many live streams at this time of the day and wanted to test it out. Things were calm in the home and we could do it. So, we are going to be talking about autism. We talk about autism on a daily basis. We do a couple lives a day, and it is just so fun to advocate and to talk about our children with autism, to learn about autism. So if you have any interest in autism, or if you disagree with anything that we're talking about here, please stick around and let's have some conversations here. Especially as we get started, these first few minutes are so important in tapping the screen, and it'll send this out to more people. Usually we get a couple hundred people in here, but we just barely started. So if you could tap on that screen and get the likes going, that would be so appreciated. Hello, Jeffrey. Good to see ya. Hello, Kayla. Thank you for joining in. Hello, Kath. Thank you. Hi, Soren. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Jamila. Hi, Brandy. Hi, Lily. Thank you all for coming in. We are just getting started. Hi, B. Bush. Good to see ya. C'est la vie. Hello. Hello, Lily. We are getting started here, you guys. And we're talking about autism, all things autism, you guys. As a reminder, this live stream might not be for everybody. What we talk about in this live stream is a little bit more controversial. Things like vaccines don't cause autism, or detox doesn't work. Of course, Soren, do you disagree with some of the stuff I'm talking about? You can come up on a backup account or on this one. That's fine. Whatever you'd like. If I do invite people to come up if they disagree. Oh, Almi, I'd love to talk to you. Almi, come on up. Let's chat. Let's chat about it. I'd love to learn and talk to you and hear your perspective. Almi, where are you from? Where are you calling in from?
I'm US.
I'm in Utah. What state are you in?
I'm in Ohio.
Ohio. That's great. Wonderful. Well, thanks for coming in. Do you have a connection to autism? Do you have a child with autism or anything, or just some thoughts on
Oh
vaccines?
yeah, without doubt, I have autism. I have two vaccinated cases with autism. I have two non-vaccinated cases and non-autism. So
Okay.
that's why, for me, the vaccine is 100% one causes of for autism.
Okay. How old are your kids?
I have big family, I have a lot of communities here. So if you check my account, I have 47 followers, majority all about the community complaining vaccine. Of course, I'm agree with them. So
But they're your kids, your 4 kids. You have 2 kids who got vaccinated and they have autism. Then you have
Yes.
2 kids who are not vaccinated and they don't have autism.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very cool. And for you, that was enough evidence. That alone was like, okay. Or was
Yes.
there something else that made you think
100%.
it? Because there's not evidence about it. Like there's no research that says it. So I'm just curious, what about that pattern made it so that you were so sure it was vaccines?
So first, I'm going to more conversation. You mean you said vaccine not cause for autism? You said.
Yeah, vaccine does not cause autism.
People say kind of this conversation, even, I'm not really comfortable talking kind of these people. I mean, for me, for my community, I have a lot of community from one house, 4 kids, 2 of them autism, 2 of them non-autism. Not only me, a lot of families, all about complaining autism.
Yes, there are a lot of...
After vaccine, I mean, my kids was 18 months, 16 months, mom, dad, I need this one, I want those one, I'm tired, I want to go sleep, very, very verbal kids. After MMR, my kids is coming looks different.
So it was
It's
MMR
nothing for me.
specifically that you think
Yes.
it was? Okay. Do you have a theory about
For me,
about the
I'm-
MMR
I'm-
caused it?
I'm complaining all, but the mainly very dangerous, like for me and for my community, MMR. So
Yeah.
for two of them, like my younger kids, non-vaccine, nothing. So
Yeah.
they're completely fine.
Yeah. When you look at millions of people, though, because that's when you do research, you need to have a very complete data set. You need a lot of participants, and what you're talking about is 4 people. And the research studies that they have are with millions and millions of children. And what they find is that those with vaccinations are not more likely to have autism than those without vaccinations.
So, like, what is your thought? You mean, I don't know. I'm just one joined the first time this
Yeah,
room.
that's okay.
Are you autism dad? Are you healthcare employee? I
Yeah,
don't
let
know.
me
I need to
introduce
know.
myself a little bit. That's a good question. So, I have 2 kids with autism. I have 2 kids without
Mm.
autism, and I'm a board
Yeah.
certified behavior analyst. I have a master's degree in autism studies. I've worked with kids with autism for the past 13 years, and I'm the CEO of a company that provides services to people with autism. So autism has become my life, and so I'm not here to push vaccines or to say there's no risk with vaccines. We could have that discussion, but I might be uninformed. But I do know the research behind autism and vaccines, and one of those side effects of vaccines is not autism.
I mean, like I said, and anybody is coming challenging to me for my kids, and I have big community. If you check my account, majority like the community all about complaining for vaccine. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
not
a lot.
saying
You're right. There are a lot of people that believe vaccines cause autism. That's why I do these lives. So I'm not doubting that there's a lot of people that believe that. I see why. Like my daughter regressed as well. My daughter's in the middle of a regression right now, and it breaks my heart. But 2 of my kids have autism, 2 of mine don't. But we know that autism is mostly genetic. Do you believe that there's genetic component to autism?
I'm not. I would just check my kids the genetic. That both them is not genetic. All like my community check the genetic. No one complaining for genetic. Environment, genetic, detox. I mean
I guess I'm
nobody
not
believe that.
understanding fully. Do you believe that genetic is part of it or no?
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not.
No. Okay. Let
For
me
me, it's not genetic.
okay. Let me tell you why it's genetic, okay? And we know that it is. So there have been studies, and what they find in these studies with twins is that if you have uh, identical twins share 100% of their DNA. Did you know that they share 100% DNA? They biologically have identical DNA, and when you measure if one of them has autism, the other one almost always also has autism. And it doesn't matter if one is vaccinated, one is not. It doesn't matter if all these other things are not true. If one has autism, it's almost always that the other also has autism. Now, with siblings, it's about 20%. So where you're at, you are statistically like that it's pretty close to that if you have one child with autism, it's likely that you'll have another child with autism whether they're vaccinated or not. But it's about 20% chance when they share 50% DNA like a sibling does. And so we know by those studies that it's up to 90% genetic, but that there are environmental risk factors. And I will talk about those environmental risk factors all day. I'm not trying to hide anything. I am wide open to these risk factors, but one of those risk factors is not vaccines.
I'm sorry. So
Yeah.
I'm really discomfortable. So good for you guys. Take care. Like talk to anybody supporting the vaccine. I don't want to be there, and I don't want to be supporting that.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
this is my opinion. So just thank you for having
Yep, you're
me.
right. It is just an opinion, and you can say that there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that believe it, but that doesn't make it more true. A lot of people can be wrong. What you need is peer-reviewed research to show that one thing causes another. So I appreciate you coming up. Do you have any last thoughts before I move on to the next person?
I think, this is like very different page. So, 100%, I'm not believe the vaccine. I think you believe vaccine. I don't want to be going to kind of any division. So you can keep your belief. I can keep my belief.
All right. You have a good day. All right, you guys. Let's see what are we thinking in the comments today, you guys. How are we doing? Are we hitting the tapping on the screen to get the likes going? I want to get some more people in here. See if we can't get some people. And let's see here. Mama Bear, isn't it genetic? Yes, it is genetic. Sharon says, I do believe vaccines are lethal. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So we know that vaccines have about 1 in a million times that you administer a vaccine that it results in a serious complication. So no one is denying that 1 in a million chance. But there's a lot more risky things than that out there that we do on a daily basis. Is it true that they pump the vaccines full of metals like all those people online say? Dante, this is the interesting thing, right? This is what people are saying, is that it's all the metal in the vaccines. I talked to someone the other day who's like, yeah, it's the aluminum and mercury that's in the MMR, and the MMR is what's causing it. And I had to say, look at the ingredients of the MMR. There is no mercury. There is no aluminum in the MMR. There are no heavy metals in the MMR. Mercury is used in very rarely in vaccinations, and it's not even real mercury. It's ethyl mercury, not methyl mercury, which is not the same thing as what you consider with mercury poisoning. And so that's only used in like a flu vaccine, a flu shot for adults, not little kids. There is aluminum in some vaccines. Yeah. Yep. Thimerosal. There is aluminum in some vaccines, but the amount is so small. Did you know that throughout the entire time that you get vaccines as a baby, you get less aluminum injected into your body than you would consume with breast milk? Do you know that you get more aluminum or less aluminum in your body during vaccinations than a single slice of American cheese? There are about 5 grams of aluminum or milligrams of aluminum in one slice of processed cheese. It's expected that throughout infancy, a baby will get 2 to 4 milligrams of aluminum during their vaccines. And so these heavy metals people worry about, aluminum is everywhere. It's in all the foods that you eat. And it's such a small amount, that it's not damaging, you guys. Not damaging. All right, guys, we're going to have some more conversations. My claims today are that vaccines don't cause autism and that autistic kids belong in your kid's school. That's a bold claim, you guys. If you have a neurotypical child, how do you feel about autistic kids being a part of your child's experience at school? All right, Story, let's bring you up. Oh, no. Messed that up.
Hello.
Well, hi there. How are you, Story?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm pretty good. Where are you from?
I'm from Georgia.
From Georgia. Wonderful. Well, what are your thoughts on all this that I'm talking about today?
I believe that vaccines does not cause autism.
Great. How old are you?
My question is...
Story, how old are you?
16.
Okay. We do need adults to be allowed to be up on the live, you guys. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. We are having some good conversations. We have quite a few people in the guest box, so we're going to work our way through. We are going to work our way through. Let's go ahead and have some of these conversations. Be true. Hello.
Hello. Yes. Welcome.
How are you?
Oh, yes, catching your live tonight. Always try to at least.
Yeah, I'm going live a little earlier tonight. Kind of fun. Trying to see if
Yes.
it brings in more people. And I'm actually surprised. We're low on the viewers, you guys. Tap on that screen. Let's get it up a little bit. Usually we get up to
Daylight
200.
savings, hon. Daylight savings.
Yeah, ruining
There you
things.
go.
Well, tell me your thoughts, Be
o-
True. Tell me your
Okay.
thoughts.
Well, two thoughts,
Yeah.
being that I am a nurse, and those that don't vaccinate, how's that iron lung working out for you? Just checking. Okay. Second of all, not sure if y'all realize that by not vaccinating, you are limiting the career field your kids can go into. Military says you have to, regardless, medicine, regardless, they don't care. You have to be, there's certain fields that no excuse to say no. You have to, so you're limiting them in what area, and getting vaccinated as adults can be a little bit more riskier.
Yes.
So, and I don't know how many of you on here are of the chickenpox vaccine group. Gen X. We did not have it. I got shingles breastfeeding because we did not have the chickenpox vaccine. Wish I could have had the vaccine. Okay, very scary.
Oh, that is.
And then to go with, I believe special need kids do belong in school, but not in the general ed classroom. They don't thrive.
Interesting. Are you,
I don't,
remind me,
and
you're a
I have
nurse. Do you have an autism?
I'm a nurse and a special needs mom.
Yeah, that's
special
right.
needs mom, right? And I work with special need children, but not in the general ed classroom. Why? Not structured, can be loud and obnoxious at times, and it's too big. These kids thrive, and when you go to ABA therapy, how many kids are in that classroom? How many at a time? Is it like less than 5? Probably. Or I mean, so they thrive in a small structured class, not in a big group. It's very overwhelming and stressful, and their sensory overload is way up there. Why do you think behaviors happen?
Yeah. I'm curious your thoughts. Once I'm going to be publishing some references on this, but I've been
Okay.
investigating some stuff and found that the first claim is that when children with disabilities are in a general ed classroom, there is no harmful outcome to the general ed's outcomes for their learning.
What about the other population, though?
And now that's
What
the
about
second part here.
see, we're forgetting about the ones that don't have special needs.
Oh, that's
and
what I just
they're
said.
the ones
The
that are
special
kind of
needs.
suffering as well.
Yeah. Those without, that was my first claim. Those without special needs,
Okay.
that it does not hinder, and there are some benefits to having special needs kids in the classroom. It's almost like in a classroom, it should resemble the diversity that appears in natural society. And believe it or not, and you know this, disabled people exist. And exposing people who without disabilities to those with disabilities does not harm them. Now, I will say that I agree with you with a lot of what you're saying, mostly because obviously the little bit that I can put on here can't fully explain my full belief.
Yeah.
That there are definitely kids who can't be safe. There is a place for special ed classroom where they're not with the general population. But I am passionate about this because there are people who talk about our kids with disabilities as though whatever classroom they're in, they are harming their children, that they want them out of the school completely. That why are they even at school? Because they're not going to have a future. Things like that. And I made a video. And it just got,
I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. It's just.
And so I think we can agree that on a case-by-case basis, that
case by case basis, yes,
like
for sure.
by default, it should be general ed classroom, that you can, as far as we can accommodate and make it work, let's do it. And it doesn't take away from the other kids. It's beneficial for the person with special needs. And then and then of
if they can
course
handle
if
it.
they can't,
If
and
they
it's
can handle it,
but it should be
and the
because it's
thing,
what's best for the person with disabilities.
yeah. But the other thing too is, do not rely on these one-to-ones. Oh my God. I just want to get on here and tell parents, please, please ask the question that no one is thinking of. What is the backup plan if the one-to-one calls out sick? I guarantee you the school does not have one. Why? Because I was an outside agency nurse working with a special needs kid, and they asked me to be the para
Yeah,
when the para wasn't available. So there is no backup plan. They don't have, and it's going to be a 2-to-1 instead of a 1-to-1. So, you need to be asking those questions, and like I said, some class, when we look at, the environment
yeah,
of how well these kids thrive they thrive in small environments, that's
yep,
not big, loud, chaotic and stuff. That's why I'm saying, the general ed classroom, you know, you know, um, is really not conducive. Depending on, as we say, case to case basis. If the kid can really handle that type of
yeah. And I'm more like, this
environment.
conversation is not so much
Yeah.
convincing autism parents or
Yeah.
special needs parents
Oh yeah.
of where to place their kid. It's
Oh
more
yeah.
of
No.
like
Yeah.
those who are, their child does not have special needs, and they are terrified of having our children around theirs. And that's who I'm trying to talk to about this. And so
Oh
I get
yeah.
where
No.
you're
No.
coming from for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to
I
go
see
ahead
the
and
I
move
see
on. Do
the
you have any
flip
last
side.
minute thoughts that you'd like to say to people before I move on to the next person?
Yeah. Yeah. For those parents that are, gear up, be strong, and do not let the school say no. You have the power, you have the control. Do not. No is not an answer that we as autistic parents or allow anybody else to say no to it. No, you don't get to say no.
Yeah.
Okay, fight.
Yeah.
Fight because they do not want to provide for us. So
Love it.
I appreciate you having me up. I'll stay in the chat.
Thank you
So
so
thank
much,
you.
Be
Thank
True. It was
you.
a pleasure. Talk to you later. All right, you guys, how are we feeling tonight, everybody? We are just barely getting started, you guys, and I want to get this out there. If let's go ahead, let's see who we have in here. This is more of a conversation. I'm curious if you are an autism parent. Let's put 1 in the chat. Let's see who our autism parents are in here. Let's put 2 in the chat if you have autism. Let's put 3 in the chat if you're just here for the discussion. If you're interested in this topic, or if you're a professional or just interested in it, go ahead and put that in the chat. Lexi, I'm going on early because I think tonight I might want to watch a movie with my wife after kids go to bed. And we're going to see what we can do to make that happen. And I'm kind of curious what it looks like at this time of day. Got a lot of 1s, a lot of 2s, some 3s. This is great. This is great, you guys. I thank you. Thank you all for being here. Let's try to push this out to as many people as we can. I'm really curious to see if we can get these numbers up a bit. Where do we stand, everybody? Let me get some people on here that we can have a discussion with. I went ahead and invited Sierra in. Hello, Sierra. Where are you from?
Hi, I'm from Tacoma, Washington.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm down in Utah. Well, tell me your thoughts on all this.
So I have autism, and throughout school, it was really difficult for me. I had level 1 autism, so I was never put in any kind of special ed classes. I was always in gen ed, but even just being there, it was a big struggle for me. When I first went into middle school, I managed to get into AP algebra,
Wow.
but unfortunately, because of the way gen ed schooling works in a lot of places with the larger schools, you don't get a lot of one-on-one attention. And so I ended up flunking out of that algebra class, even though I had the knowledge, because I wasn't able to get the help that I needed.
So is your thought that, you could have used more support in school? Not that you shouldn't
Right.
have been, like, how would you have felt if you weren't allowed to exist in that school?
I did. So when I finally got into high school. I didn't do too good, and so I ended up my junior year of high school. I went to a secondary school,
Yeah.
and so the amount of kids was cut, but like basically like a tenth. So there was only 150 kids instead of like 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
Um,
Did that help? Did
and
that
so
setup help you a little bit?
it helped so much. When I was in my junior year, I was 2 years behind, so I was supposed to graduate 2 years after I was scheduled to graduate in the beginning, which was 2016. But because the school was so small and I was able to get the proper one-on-one attention, um, I was able to make up literally everything and graduated on time. Um, but the only way I was able to do that was because there wasn't as many students, and I had pretty much like the teachers, like a decent amount of the teachers' attention, you know?
Yeah. So it sounds like you somewhat agree with what I'm talking about. I like again, the whole purpose of me bringing this up is because there's a group of people out there who believe that people like you, people like my own children, are not safe and should not be allowed to enter the same school that their kids go to. And if you're looking at this from your perspective, you're thinking, where do I succeed the best? I love that. And I agree that we should look at that. And most of that should be how do we make this classroom so that it's welcoming and inclusive for you? But what I'm really worried about is people who think that those who are different need to be away from their kids. And
Well,
yeah.
I also know I had friends in that same alternative school who were just like me, but they had different levels of autism. Um, but like we had places that we could go that were safe places, so we could get out like frustrations or STEM or
Ah,
whatever. So we had
wow.
places that were safe for us and away from basically kind of the general population, so we could regulate our feelings without having to put anybody else in danger. A lot of us do know that we get aggressive sometimes and it's
Yeah.
not safe for anybody.
Yeah. So we need to increase support for those people at school. I mean, you and others with autism deserve to have a safe place, a place where you are supported. I appreciate you coming up, for you sharing your thoughts. You have a good rest of your night, okay, Sierra?
You too, thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and keep on this discussion, everybody. So if you are new here, let me do a little bit of an introduction. My name's Kylan. I live in Utah. I got a couple kids with autism, and they mean the world to me. I'm also a board certified behavior analyst. So I've worked with kids with autism since 2013. I'm the CEO of a company that provides services to people with autism throughout the state of Utah. We have a few clinics that we run here in Utah. And in my free time, I like to come on these lives. And sometimes I come on and it's like parent support group. And other times I want to come on and I want to advocate. And one of the things I feel very strongly about are times where our children and where autism parents are being taken advantage of. And some of those things are just the abundance of misinformation out there. The idea that vaccines caused your child's autism. That is a harmful claim that people make about you and your child. It is not true. It is not true. For every person that says that their child was vaccinated and then got autism, there is a child who did not have vaccines and then got autism. The research is clear. It was not the vaccines that brought on autism. I'd love to. Samantha, if you want to come on up, I'd love to have a conversation with you. I just sent you an invite if you want. We have some people in the guest box, though, if people want to have a conversation. Marie, I love what you do. Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much, Marie. Let's see here. Our child has been pushed out by the school system due to class disturbance. Oh, that's so frustrating. I'm sorry, BL. Samantha, hello. Where are you from?
Melbourne, Florida.
Oh, you're out in Florida. And do you have any connection to autism or just kind of interested in the topic?
No, I am a mother of a severely autistic level 3
Yeah.
with epilepsy. And as you know,
Oh my goodness.
level 3 autism, regressive autism, is very closely related to epilepsy, as is a neurological disorder.
Yeah. How are you doing? How old is your
I'm all
child?
right.
How old is
He's
your
in a
child?
day program that teaches life skills.
Oh, great. Is he an adult then?
Oh, yes, and he's under legal guardianship because he does not understand how to vote. Nobody's going to steal that from him.
Yeah.
They will use you, and people will use that.
Yeah. Well, tell me about your son then, and about this. Have you felt strongly about the vaccines ever since he was a baby?
Absolutely. I've had the MRIs done since he had developed epilepsy around his puberty. And he got a titers test. I never did boosters. And his titers immunity test was normal all along the board. I've done every vaccine. But his MRI showed up 3 times over the delta of immunity. And underneath where you read how you read the testing, it says that he was either exposed to, as he already had measles, mumps, and rubella, or that he just is immune to it. They won't tell you. And he never had it.
Yeah.
And his MRI showed what is called a brain insult, not an injury, an insult, which means he had encephalopathy at some point.
Oh. Is that a known side effect of vaccinations? Because I do know vaccinations can cause.
It is.
Like
It's a
one in
known
a
side
million.
effect specifically
Yeah.
for the MMR.
Yeah, it's like 1 in a million, like severe side effects of the vaccination. Now let me hold on. Let me look it up. What did you say that it found? It found a repeat
Brain
a little bit of
insult.
what you said. A brain insult caused by what?
Encephalopathy.
Encephalopathy. Yeah. Let's look. I want to learn about this.
No, I'm
When
happy
I-
to.
when I
I'm
come
happy
up
to
on
teach
here-
anybody. My son is an adult, 20, so y'all are just learning about leucovorin now. He was born in the height of the Wakefield study, trying to debunk it. And once you step away and say science is settled, you're leaving science completely behind because science is never settled.
Do you think we haven't studied the vaccines since Wakefield?
I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that has been done
much.
to
So
cover
much, more
up
than anything.
what they know now about autism. I think there are a lot of it. They've been doing a lot of stuff in the last 20 years to cover it up and or not do the correct studies. Because way back then they were talking about the leaky gut and the brain gut link. And that's what they tried to debunk Andrew Wakefield about. And now they're just starting to look into it again. They ruined the whole career. And now we've had 20 years go by and no one's really looked into it. They
Oh,
called
that's
Jenny
not true.
McCarthy crazy.
That's
They
not
called
true.
Andrew Wakefield a bad doctor and stuff. And it's just like drinking beer. It's going to go to your brain.
Okay.
There is a gut-brain relation.
Oh, so it's not vaccines? It's gut brain.
If you look into the MMR, there's also a gut-brain relation to it.
I just want to clarify
It's
some
not
things because
there's
go ahead.
you go ahead and you can Google what the MMR, how it affects your body.
Yeah. Okay, so for those,
And especially when 20 years ago, they were telling us to go ahead and give even Tylenol to our kids before we brought them in for vaccines, which is totally terrible. I've lost complete faith in the medical industry, and I work in it.
okay. Are you at a pause point where I can chime in a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, so for everybody watching, I just want to give a little bit of context for the information that is shared on my platform. And Samantha, right? I really like that.
I
Is
go by
terrifying.
Sam.
Oh, Sam. I apologize, Sam. Sam, you
fine.
it is very clear that encephalopathy can be caused by vaccines.
Yes, it can.
That is a documented side effect, and we have about 1 in 1 million occurrences of severe side effects of vaccinations in children, and so that should be recognized. To put that in perspective, a circumcision procedure has a 1 in 10,000 chance of a severe complication. Those can happen as well.
And he's never been circumcised either.
Yeah, which I'm not saying that it was, but I see a lot of people who are like so afraid of the vaccine but then they'll be first in line to go circumcise their kid. And so I think it's good that we put all of these things in line of like risk that we are accepting for that, the 1 in a million chance. And that is crazy that you had that experience. Now, I want to be clear that a brain
I believe
injury,
that with any vaccine, you are given that paper, the insert, or maybe you're not given the insert, but you read everything that's on the insert. It is a series of trade-offs, risk versus reward. And with the medical field the way it is now, there's so many changes that happened from the history of measles, mumps, and rubella with sanitation and with the invention of new drugs and stuff, that you're able to treat the actual disease instead of this preventative vaccination for it that can cause more damage. Now, I would have rather gone through, I had the measles when I was a child. And I would have rather gone through 2 weeks of having the little bumps and had to deal with that for 2 weeks than to have to deal with 20 years more. And now comorbidities from autism with the epilepsy.
Let me
He'll
share
never
some
have a
things,
normal
though.
life.
I want to make sure that we both share some time here to talk. And you have a lot of strong feelings about this, and valid, because you have a child that was injured from a vaccine is what it sounds like. But just know that autism is not a brain injury. Autism is absolutely not a brain injury.
Genetic stuff came back unremarkable. He's gone through every test.
We don't have all genetics. Now, what can happen?
But science is settled, right?
On what?
You're going to say it's genetics and not that it's not the vaccine, it's genetics, but they don't know anything about genetics, but it's settled science.
No.
See? This is where we're going to go around and around.
Okay, but
because it's not genetics.
Do you realize you've spoke 90% of the time that you've been up here?
I got a lot to say.
Yeah.
Because I absolutely disagree that it is genetic.
Okay. Let me kind of run down a little bit of what the genetics are. So we do know that it's up to 90% genetic. Up to 90%. How do we know that? Well, it's twin studies. If you don't know, if you believe that vaccines are, or if you believe that autism is not genetic, I want you to explain this. How, when you have identical twins, they have up to 90% of the time, if one has autism, the other has autism. That's when they share 100% DNA. Now, when they share 50% DNA as a sibling, then they only have about 20% chance of having autism with fraternal twins. Same environmental conditions, because fraternal twins versus identical twins, but the DNA is what's different. And because the DNA is different, they're not as likely to both have autism. So we know that genetics is a strong factor. That doesn't mean that we know all the genes that play into it. We've identified over 500 genes that play into it. And so absolutely, like, we know it's genetic mostly. And every single risk factor that we have found for autism itself is it occurs during pregnancy or immediately after birth. What it sounds like, though, is there have been times where a child gets a vaccine and they get brain damage, and it can cause an acquired brain injury. And there are times that there are shared behaviors between autism and a brain injury, but that's not the same thing as autism. Autism is different. And it sounds like with your son, he has a brain injury, but on top of that, he also has autism. Now, genetic doesn't mean it comes from parents. No one's saying you have autism, Sam, but we are saying that that it's largely genetic. What do you think about that? Oh, we can't hear you, Sam. You're muted. I went ahead and muted you when I started talking that time. Can you figure out how to unmute it? Let me see. Let me see if I can. I think it can send you a request. I just sent you a request to unmute now. Let's see if that works. But I'd love to get your thoughts on those twin studies. All right. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect you. If you figure out how to unmute, feel free to request back up. I'd love to have more of a conversation, because what's hard is you have emotion involved with it. You have emotion. You have this traumatic experience at the personal level. And that is a lot. Oh my gosh, thank you for the hand heart. That means the world, Miss Ojani. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I just, the problem, vaccination, autism, you can't do a brain scan and identify brain damage. And the fact that your child had this reaction to a vaccine, you did an MRI and found a brain injury. I mean, and now with epilepsy as well, we're talking about something different. That's not the same as autism. And he could have had autism before, and then this caused a huge regression because of other medical problems that occurred. All right, you guys. What other thoughts do we have? Can I go ahead? Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and invite some other people up. We got people in the guest box that we're going to have some conversations with. Oh, Samantha is back in. There we go, Samantha. Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
I'm real insulted by the mothers that are on here saying those things about me, like I don't have a clue or anything like that. I've got so much testing. I've done every diet. I've gone down every road. We've tried everything. It's insulting coming from other autism parents that they're saying
don't worry about the
have
comments.
no clue.
Are you going to talk to me? Talk to me here. This isn't about the comments. This is you and me. What are your thoughts on the twin study stuff that I talked to you about?
There are several twins that I know, and they are fraternal twins, and one has autism. Actually, one is identical twins, and one is fraternal twins.
Yeah.
And I know our friend Livy.
Why are you saying people you know? What does that have to do with the research? I don't understand why you're bringing up people that you know.
Because I've been in an autism community for over 20 years.
Yeah, but why are you bringing up people that you know
that
when
have
I'm
kids
bringing
with
up
autism?
research? I'm bringing up research articles, and you're saying, well, I know someone. What does that have to do with anything?
I think you just want to fight. You just want to try to go here on
I want to protect autism
research.
Parents.
Like I said, that is not settled science. There's so many of these studies have been covered up for years. When 20 years ago they said chelation was a crazy thing to do for your child.
Yes, no chelation. You guys, no chelation. Are you in favor of chelation, Sam?
No, I'm saying that people were doing that 20 years ago.
Goodness.
So you can't
but you're
say
saying
that
don't do
science
it.
is settled.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Chelation was never medically recommended for autism. Oh my goodness. But it was widely spread, just like gluten-free is widely spread today, or detoxing is widely spread, or, this gut-brain axis theory and treatments for that is spread. All of that is fringe science, not backed by the evidence, just like how chelation therapy was. But you're right. There, ABA therapy, which now is widely accepted as an evidence-based way to support people with autism, that used to be fringe as well, that it wasn't in the science. So you're right. We can't just take things for granted. We wait till it's established in the evidence. But the thing with vaccines is that not much has been researched more than vaccines in the medical world. And especially with autism in the autism world. I mean, we're talking about
There's
dozens of
always-
studies with
it has
millions
always
and
been tested
millions
with
of
other-
kids that when you compare them, there is no difference between those who have
Not
been
placebo based.
oh my gosh, they're very rigid studies. Should we pull them up? Pull up my references.
No, I think that you're misinformed, and you have to read those studies that Aaron Siri points out, and
Name
that
one study-
that Bobby
name one
Jr.
study that
points
links
out.
vaccines
A lot of
to
those were
autism.
done without placebo-based studies. They had tested them against other drugs that had adjuvants in them.
Like aluminum. Are you worried about the
Yes.
aluminum and mercury?
Which is a metal.
Yeah. Are you worried about the aluminum?
And back in 2000, they still had the other one in there that they have since said that they no longer are going to have that
Mercury.
metal in there as a preservative.
Ethyl mercury. Yep, ethyl mercury they removed out of all vaccines except for some variations of the flu shot. But let me ask you something. When was the last time you ate American cheese? One slice of American cheese. Do you think in the past year you've had one slice?
Probably if I've gone to a restaurant.
Yeah. Did you know that one slice of American cheese has more aluminum than your baby will have throughout all of their injections that they will receive? Aluminum.
I'd like to see that paper.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. That is fact. It's fact. One slice of cheese has about 3 to 5 milligrams of aluminum.
So do you trust vaccines more than you trust food?
I think there's diet problems as well, but I'm not afraid of like someone eating cheese and
Do
getting
you know
autism.
the food industry and the pharma industry are completely connected?
So are you saying food causes autism too?
I absolutely believe there are things in our food that are making us sick, like glyphosate as well.
Yes,
There's
I
no
agree.
way to get around it.
There are terrible things in our food. I mean, I can get behind that. Like about one of the
And
only
those are
things I agree with
environmental
RFK
factors.
Jr. on is some of the dye stuff that he's talking about with the food stuff. That's spot on. I agree with that. Yeah, there's some scary stuff with, but there's not a connection to autism with that.
There's a connection of the food industry and the pharma industry. And you can sue your food product for getting you sick, but you cannot sue the vaccine company that you just injected into your child that caused the damage.
Yep. Yeah, that is a problem.
There's the difference where we stand. So those mothers that are sitting there saying, I don't know what I'm talking about in your comments,
a lot of us
and
agree
stuff,
that it
there's
might be
the
a
point
good thing
right
to be
there.
able-
Vaccine is a product, and you can't sue if you get damaged.
Yeah, that is a problem. I agree with you on that. Yeah. But what does that have to do with autism?
The vaccine gave my son autism. It gave him a brain insult.
Yes, exactly. Not autism.
And there's nothing
An
I can do.
acquired brain
he's,
injury.
He's an adult now. He's 20 years old. All these people that have younger kids,
Yes.
like I said, it's a series of trade-offs.
Yes. An acquired brain injury is not the same as autism, though. And like you are right. And you are I even hate having this conversation with you because I feel so bad because you lived the trauma with vaccines. If there's anyone on the planet that should hate vaccines, it's you. I'm not mad at you for it. You should absolutely have been able to sue. You should have, if your child had an acquired brain injury due to a vaccination, that is terrible. It's extremely, extremely rare. You're one of the few people that this has happened to in the United States. And that is absolutely wild. But what you can't say is that it gave your kid autism. That it's an acquired brain injury is not the same as autism.
Well, I can tell you some more things that I think that it is not necessarily a great thing about our government. And
Well,
we're
this
probably
isn't
going to
really
go back
political.
to the
This isn't political.
1970s here.
This
is
is all
that,
just about autism. Do you have more thoughts about autism before I move on to the next person? And again,
Well, it's about vaccines. Can
Oh.
I ask you about vaccines?
If it has to do with autism,
It's about the MMR specifically.
about the Wakefield study.
No,
Okay, if it has
it's
to do with
about
autism,
MMR specifically and acquired immunity for measles, mumps, and rubella.
yeah,
It does not show up. If you get measles, mumps, and rubella when you're a child and you have acquired immunity, it doesn't show up in your health department records
yeah.
of you have already acquired that immunity. You have to go and prove it
Sam,
by getting
I
a
want you to
titers
know
test
that out
done.
of anybody I've talked to, I think you have the most justification to hate vaccines, and I see where you're coming from. And I just want to encourage you to understand that vaccines don't cause autism, and warn everybody about what happened to your child and an acquired brain injury. And it's a 1 in a million chance, literally.
But you're
it's
saying
very
there's
real
a
for you.
chance.
Oh yeah, for an acquired brain injury, not for autism. Yes.
There's still
It's
a chance.
safer.
And like I say, it's a series of trade-offs whenever you see that insert for that vaccine.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming up. I tried to end that politely a few times, and I just had a hard time getting in there. So I apologize for cutting you off. I do hope you know that, like, out of anyone, if your child got an acquired brain injury from the very rare, I mean, we're talking only a handful of cases of that in the entire United States. Hopefully you have that documented in the medical records and everything, that it was a documented adverse effect from a vaccine. But I want to be very clear that that's not autism, and that's not the situation that our friends with autism are experiencing. There is no link, there is no connection between vaccines and autism, and the millions and millions of children that have been studied with this show that. So thank you guys for being here. D, correct. There's also a chance I could get hit by a car while walking. Everything has a risk. Yes. So typically those who have a major severe reaction, it can be due to other underlying things that are happening at the same time. We can have infections, trauma, things like that can, let's see. Oh my gosh, it's more than 1 in a million. Okay, so we're looking at, for a febrile seizure, it's 1 in 4,000 doses, which that is common. That is something that we should be aware of. Severe allergic reaction is 1 in a million, and a brain injury is extremely rare. They don't even have data. Like, it sounds like a documented brain injury from vaccines is so rare, they don't even have a statistic on how rare it is. It's more rare than 1 in a million. So please, you guys, do not talk about I guess it's good for us to put this in perspective. Yeah, there's a risk, but it is so ridiculously small. But I can't tell that to Sam, because that risk was real for her, and a brain injury was real for her and her child. And if she was one of the like 5 cases or whatever in the United States, like, that is terrible, and I am so sorry. And I think, out of respect to you and your son, I don't want to continue that discussion with you, just out of respect for you. So, all right. Oh my gosh, Brooklyn. Okay, my wife just said, our daughter saw you on my screen and said, Dad, Dad. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That makes me so happy. You guys. Oh, yeah. I also think I don't like when people talk about autism as a injury or a disease, instead of just a difference in how the brain was developed. And it's not to discount other serious medical problems, but autism is not a brain injury. You can't go into the brain and do an MRI and find damage to the brain for autism. That's not how you diagnose it. That's not what you do. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and have some more discussions. I'd love to talk to more people. Mary, hello. Where are you from, Mary?
Hi. Oh my God. I spoke to you last month.
Oh, did you?
And
oh my gosh. You'll have to update
yes,
me.
I did. Yeah, okay. When I spoke to you, sorry, guys. Hi, everybody. I'm in London. I'm from the UK, and when I called you last month, I was very emotional. I was like, literally crying on your live
Yeah.
because I felt very alone. Like my family, nobody knows about my son's diagnosis. They felt like he may have autism,
Yeah.
and he had all the symptoms, tiptoeing. And I remembered when I called you, I was crying to you that I felt like vaccination contributed to his diagnosis, because, and I actually did say to you
Yeah.
that my son was born on 23 weeks,
Yeah.
and he's a miracle baby, and
Love that.
he's and I remember that I said to you that he was like eating everything was normal.
Yeah.
And you said to me, no, Marie, it's not the vaccination that has caused it and everything. Because I said the moment he had his vaccination, he started becoming picking eating,
Yeah.
like, and then his tiptoeing started. And yeah, and then when after I spoke to you,
Yeah.
I went back and spoke to my GP
Yeah.
doctors, and I said, oh, I've been talking to you. I went on live for the first time because I've not really spoken to nobody about this. I've been very, very depressed because he wakes up at night, he's crying and everything, all the challenges I've been feeling. And my GP did confirm to me, like, Marie, no, the vaccination is not what causes scare of autism and everything like that. And I think I heard another parent talking about school. So in my situation, like my son, I think I said that to you, like, and you actually said your children was similar. Like he says one A to Z.
Yeah.
He speaks one word like milk. When he wants something, he says milk.
Yes.
When he wants juice, and he will hold my hand and take me to the kitchen, like, juice, I
Yes.
want this, and one word situation. And in my case, the GP reassured me what you have said, because that was the first time I spoke to anyone about it. Because I think I remember that I said to you that when we had family wedding, and I took my, we went to the wedding and he had a tantrum and everything, and you reassured me that he's 2 years old. Normally, tantrum is happening. It doesn't mean autism, and you really gave me peace, because the fact that he was born 23 weeks, I was like microscoping everything, like he's tiptoeing, he's got autism, everything. And in my case, the fact that he Miss Rachel is his favorite on TV,
Yes.
and the GP doctors recommended he went to school. So he's 2.5 now. He's going to be 3 in June. That is not the corrected age. That is when he was born.
Yeah.
And since he started school, like he's been interacting with other people, and that's actually normalize him in terms of, like, he speaks more in terms of, like, communication.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Communication. So
Yeah.
the whole, like, vaccination scare or belief that I had that the vaccination destroy, I don't know if I can say that. I felt like
Yeah.
the vaccination made my son worse.
Yeah.
Like, it is bad enough that he was born at 23 weeks, and all the other mothers that I formed relationship with in NICU, because he was in NICU for 8 months. We were in NICU for 8 months in London. And all the other children, like, they're not eating or they're not, like, speaking and everything like that. And so I kind of, like, was extremely depressed.
Well, I'm curious how you're
um
feeling now about it, because I've heard you go kind of both ways. Now that you heard it from me, and I've talked about some of the research, your doctor has talked to you. Has that concern gone away for you about vaccines causing
Yes, yes.
autism?
I think that
Good,
when you
good.
told me, when I came on your live for the first time, I have to emphasize that um your live was the first time that I spoke about it.
Wow.
I kept it secret from
Yeah.
family. Like, I
Oh my
couldn't
goodness. Well, I'm
really
so glad that you
like
opened up to us. Have you looked into getting a diagnosis since then, though? And you talked to your GP. Did you bring it up, and
yeah,
did they
like
recommend a diagnosis?
yes, they feel like they're gonna give Zalo a diagnosis, like a full checkup, or you know what that
An
you know what
evaluation.
I
They're going
mean.
to do the full
Yeah,
evaluation
that's
and
the
see if
word.
there's
Yeah,
a
they're
if there's
gonna
autism.
do that when
Amazing.
he's a little bit older.
Yeah.
But the GP did say to me, Marie, this life that you've been in, like he said everything correct. And he when I had the backup, when you told me, that was the first time that I spoke about it. I was still a little bit like depressed. But when my GP, like the doctors here in the UK, like spoke about what you said, and like, is it counter or you know
Yeah.
I had my peace of mind. I realized that everything that you had been saying was 100% correct, because it wasn't just the one um examination. It was a couple of different agencies
Yeah.
that said very similar to what you said, and they reassured me that yes, what he said, because I took everything that you told me on that live,
Yeah.
I took it back to them,
I
and
love
they said
that.
yes, what he's saying is,
Mary, I
there's the population.
I am so
Mhm.
grateful that you came up and shared that with me. It means the world that that our conversation could open up that conversation for you to then be able to go have with your doctor. And I hope other people listening, like as I talk about autism and we talk about different things, you'll hear me say all the time, go talk to your doctor. And I hope you do. Don't just trust me because I'm some guy on here. You go and you talk about things with your doctor. Mary, I need to go ahead and continue to move on, but I will give you one more minute here just to share any last thoughts that you have before I move on to the next person.
I am very grateful that when I hear you live right now, there is
Yeah.
other. I think there was a lady here that talked about her being like she's got autism and everything like that. Because
Yeah.
in my case, I think that they said it was mild.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to educate myself about the different stages of autism, like when they say, oh, mild or extreme, or, when a child has an autism and the child can still say A to Z very nicely, and understand all colors. And mind you, he's only 2 years old. Yeah. So he can talk about all the shapes and colors and everything. He has all that memory retention, and when he wants one or two stuff, and like mommy, it's not mommy, but, milk, one word.
Yeah.
But I think that what triggered me before I found your life, because I wasn't even following you at that time, you just came into my um um like, is it FUFY?
FYP for
What
you
do they call it
page.
when you come
Yeah.
on? Yeah, FYP. And you would not even understand. Like, I had been crying for many months, and I had been very depressed, and not even speaking to my husband about some certain things, because all he cares about is I love my son and my son is great. But me as a mother, you see all the signs and everything, and you are picking and everything.
Yeah.
And when I came into your life, and I remembered last month, it was the first time I had a good breakdown, and I
Yeah.
had a good cry. And then you were just like, Marie, and I blamed it, just like all the mothers here. I blamed it. Like, I told you with my bold, very like boldly, like, my baby was fine. He was eating normal.
Yeah.
He was fine. And then after we had the vaccination, I saw the changes.
Yeah.
And
Well,
you said, Marie, it's not that. And yeah, and from anyway, moving on,
yeah. Thank
you
you so much
know,
for sharing that, Marie. Please stick around. Please come back and update us on these lives. I want to hear it when your boy gets diagnosed.
I
I am
will
so grateful.
I'll definitely come back, and if I'm not able to be on the on the chats or something, I would definitely send you a DM, because
Please
that
do.
is partly, when you're so busy, because I have so many, like, 7-figure business, and I'm so overwhelmed, and I'm tired, and I don't sleep, and I'm so, like, shattered, and definitely, when I get the final assessment, which what they're gonna be doing, I will be on your DM to
Yeah.
give you updates. So thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you
Marie.
for
You have a good night. Best
creating
to
this
you and your little one.
community.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for creating this community. I adore
Absolutely. You
you.
have a. Oh, sorry. I thought you were done there. Thank you so much, Marie. I love that. I love that so much. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thanks for sticking around. We are going to continue to have these discussions. I am going to look, guys. If you come on my lives in the mornings, that is typically when we do more of autism support stuff. If you're an autism parent and you want advice, come back in the mornings, usually around noon Eastern time. That's 10 a.m. my time for a couple hours. I really want to encourage all of you guys to come back. And right now, I do want to continue to talk to some people that may have different viewpoints than me. And so if you think that vaccines caused your child's autism, or if you think it causes autism in general, or if you think we don't know, some other things that if you believe is if autism needs to be detoxed, if you can reverse autism through detox, request up. I want to talk to you. If you think that, let's see here. What are some of the other things that we discuss? If you think that autistic kids should not attend school with your child, also request up. We have a lot of people in the guest box, but I'm going to drop everybody. And that way, I only want people who disagree with me to have a conversation. So please don't request up if you agree. I want to have a conversation with someone who disagrees. And so go ahead and re-request up if you do. We're going to go ahead and get View in here. Thank you, View. Where are you from?
New York.
You're from New York. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for being on here. What are your thoughts on these things?
Well, in the beginning, I'm new to the autism world, like talking about it.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, I did think that I can detox,
Yeah.
and I did think that the problem was because we were not going out, as in like being social, and that's why she's not social. And all she had was
Sorry, do you have a
the
daughter with
television.
autism then?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. How old is she?
She just turned 2 days ago. I just did you did a post and I responded to your post.
Oh, did you? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for the response also.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
oh my
I don't
gosh.
think it's mostly about vaccine, but I was wondering, because so many people are saying that, I've always had vaccines,
Yeah.
and I do hear that people say it's because of vaccines. But is there true that you can detox? Because I always thought it's because of folic acid.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the folic acid stuff. So are you saying folic acid related to the vaccines, or are you talking about folinic acid and leucovorin stuff?
Folinic acid. Yes.
Folinic
I was
acid?
thinking, is she not getting as much as she's supposed to as other kids? That's what I've heard before. But I don't know if it's true or false.
That is a good question. That is a good question. And I'm glad that you're not thinking it's vaccines. And you are talking about something that is a lot more of emerging science. This isn't fringe. It's not conspiracy, but it's emerging. There have been some associations that there's a small subgroup of kids with autism who don't produce as much folinic acid. You can do a frat test and determine if your child falls into that subcategory. And then leucovorin, then this is all the theory behind it, okay? I'll talk about what the research actually says, but then the theory is that leucovorin can then be prescribed to that subgroup of people that take the frat test and identify as deficient in folinic acid. Now, what does the research actually say about it? Well, it's a little bit mixed, but it does look promising. There have been 5 randomized clinical trials so far to evaluate this. And the largest one, the one that prompted RFK Jr. and Trump to announce to everybody to try leucovorin, that study got retracted about 3 weeks ago because of errors in the data. And so this is one of those that even those that did show improvement, it was mild improvement to moderate. It wasn't like substantial. It's not the same as like a therapy, but it was blind, like placebo, and they've had some mixed results. And so before I recommend it to anybody, I am waiting for a little bit more research to be done on it. What do you think, View?
You think you should buy it over the counter? You know how they sell them? Is it strong as prescribed?
No.
Or
No, you need
or it can be
prescription
food
folinic
related?
acid for the leucovorin. You need the prescription grade for it to be what is being studied right now. But even then, I'm not recommending people do that yet. I know, like, as autism parents, we want to do everything for our little one. But let me, like, your kid is 2. Is she communicating at all yet? How's she doing?
No, just she'll sing ABCs, but it's as if her tongue is heavy.
Yeah.
She will do 1 to 20 with Miss Rachel. You gotta love Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
And what else?
Oh, yeah.
She'll push me
But
if she
she's
wants
2.
something.
She's 2, and she's showing motivation to go and get things. Look, your daughter is going to be communicating. If she's 2 and she's just barely 2, she's saying the ABCs, she's showing motivation that she knows what she wants, so she's pulling you or pushing you to get those things. Those are all incredible signs. The most evidence-based support right now are the therapies. I recommend speech therapy, ABA therapy, and occupational therapy to be considered. And I mean, there's studies that I know of in ABA that about if you enter high quality ABA therapy before the age of 3 or by the age of 3, about 95% of kids who are nonverbal are able to go on, if they get that early intervention, they're able to go on and communicate in full conversations. And so there's some solid research behind that. That's one of those things. It's not emerging science. It's established therapy and support. And so my recommendation is avoid all of the, like, until you can look into that stuff. But us, I mean, autism parents, our time is limited. And I'm very protective of autism parents and our time and our money and our resources. For a lot of these tests, insurance doesn't pay for it. That's a red flag. The medications and supplements that then they recommend, insurance doesn't typically pay for it. And so that can be kind of a red flag, but it's also like it's going to be a big expense.
Mm-hmm. I do have a question before. I don't want to just take too long because I know there's a lot of people wanting to be up here.
Of course.
I know from what I've learned so far that autism, just tell me if I'm wrong, that autism is our 5 senses, like seeing, touching, feeling, like all these 5 senses. And theirs is just more higher. It's just more, like ours is going to be like maybe in 50, theirs is 100, maybe 200. They just feel it more.
Yeah.
Is there ways that we can reverse it? Like, for example, if she doesn't like the feeling of, let's just say hers is touch. If she doesn't like the feeling of this certain fabric, do we make her get used to it? Or no, just leave her alone that she doesn't like it? Can we get her to being used to something or no?
You are such a good parent. You are asking all the right questions. You know that. I'm really impressed. My recommendation to you, well, first, let me give some more context. It's not even just that it's louder or it's stronger. That can be true, but it's also that it's all happening at once. Their brain hasn't filtered out all the things that are not relevant. Like for you and I, we're not feeling the clothes on our body right now. We're not feeling the socks on our feet. We're not feeling the glasses on our face, the headphones over our ears. Our brain has pruned out those connections, and we're only focused on the things most important. And autism, quite often, they feel, hear, smell, and see everything all at the same time. And so it can increase sensitivity. And so what you're describing, absolutely, you can work on tolerating things. And you do that through like little by little, tolerate a little bit more. But as much as possible, like if it's not necessary, just make them comfortable. And you do see a lot of that as a child ages. I've seen it time and time again. A lot of the sensory input and those sensory needs do slowly go down and down. And so,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
It
you
doesn't
can work on
say.
it a little bit, but just make them comfortable. And their body's naturally working on it all the time.
Good. No, that sounds good.
View, thank
So
you so
there's
much
gonna
for
be
coming up.
food.
I appreciate your
Thank you
time,
so
and
much.
thank you
Thank
for
you for
telling
your
us a
time
little bit
too.
about your situation.
Thank you so much. Same to you.
Have a good one. All right, talk to you later. All right, you guys, that was a great question about the leucovorin, and I can totally understand. Like, yeah, I saw someone in the chat be like, okay, so no medicine then, and let me just be very clear here. The moment you get a diagnosis of autism, there is no medicine, there is no supplement, there is no gut health test, there is nothing like that that is recommended that you do next, just because your child has an autism diagnosis. That does not mean that there is not medication that can help. That does not mean that there's not supplements that could help. For example, if your child has a hard time sleeping, a lot of people with autism, the doctors will recommend melatonin or magnesium, and they'll recommend those things. But what I disagree with is some of these fad things of special diets, and there's just not evidence behind it. I'd love to have conversations, though, with people who think differently than me. And so go ahead. If you are in the guest request box, it's because you disagree with me. And I'm bringing people up who have some disagreements with the things that I'm saying. Okay, we have Asha in the request box here. Asha, hello. Where are you from? Oh, she is not here anymore. All right, you guys. Okay, we had a few people and they dropped out. Maybe they were just friends. Guys, here's my whole thing. It is we are over-marketed to, oversold to as parents of kids with autism, and I'm sick of it. I am sick of being told that I'm not doing enough for my child when literally that is my entire day all day is focusing on my kids. And then we get online and we're told, oh, you don't know about gluten-free? You haven't heard about the oat test that you have to do for your child? Everyone knows that you have to do the oat test. Like, we are constantly being bombarded with more things that we have to do. And I am sick of it, and I am passionately against those things. Until there is established evidence. We don't have to do the research ourselves. You're not a scientist. Let's let the scientists do it. Yeah, let's keep it simple. So what do I recommend? I recommend that it is extremely basic. The very first thing, you need a village. You need to be able to take care of yourself. I posted a video, I don't know if you guys saw it, of me going golfing yesterday at Topgolf. We had some gift cards that my son and I went and we used. And I was able to get out of the house for a couple hours and have a good time with my son. And that is what the very first step is that I like to talk about. It is build a village. Be able to take time off. Go and do a hobby. That is the very first step. Build a village. Second step, get the diagnosis for your kid. Okay, get clarity. Know what's going on. Get an evaluation. Step 3, this is where it gets real important. Your kid just got a diagnosis. What do you do next? Well, now is the time to not go online and be looking for all the recommendations from other people. If you just got an autism diagnosis, you can keep it real simple and you build your care team. You are now a care team manager. And what is the care team that you are building? Well, first, there's ABA therapy. They do a great job working on skills and behaviors and communication. There's speech therapy that are amazing at communication, occupational therapy. And for those conversational, there is mental health therapy. Those are the 4 treatments that I recommend that you're building your care team. Also, you should have a good pediatrician that you are working with. All those people working together are the experts making up your kid's team. That way, you don't have to do so much. You got a team of people supporting you and your kid. You don't have to go and find out what the most recent evidence is on leucovorin. You don't need to go and figure out how to detox. You got experts that are doing it for you. You need less stress. Step 4 is you can continue to learn and advocate. Learn about what supports are available in your area and how to advocate for more. Learn and advocate. And then the final step is prepare for the future. Look into special needs trusts, apply for disability services, things like that. This is what we are doing, you guys. So we keep it simple. Is there anybody in here who thinks that vaccines cause autism? Put yes in the chat if you think vaccines had something to do with your child's autism? You trust medical? Yeah, I trust most doctors if they know what they're doing. All right, you guys. Keep on letting me know. What do you think? Do vaccines contribute to your child's autism? Yes, we have people that do. I'd love to learn about your experience and your thoughts on it. Bobby's World, I know we've talked and we're friends, and I know that you've supported me, and but I know this is one of those things that you disagree with me on. And so if you want to talk about it, that's fine. If not, that's okay too. But I'd love to hear from you. Hello.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. Remind me where you're from.
I was literally laying next to my son, so I'm sneaking out of his room
Oh
right
my
now.
gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. So
Did he fall asleep?
I have to
Daylight
really disagree
savings.
with you.
Daylight savings
Hold on,
is
wait,
not
I'm
your
going in
enemy.
another room. Oh, well, I'm saying that I really feel as though this is a whole topic that can go sideways on you. And, I kind of worry that that it will go sideways, because as an advocate of a profoundly autistic son that has medical complexities, that also witnessed my daughter have a vaccine injury,
Yeah.
this is something that I feel is a loaded question.
Yeah.
But I'm as an advocate, I have to say that if a mother wants to tell me that Tylenol caused it, that vaccines caused it, we have to absolutely listen to what a mother is saying.
Yeah.
Okay, I can put my husband on the phone and say, what was the experience with our daughter with a vaccine injury? She, from the moment of injection, she screamed this guttural scream that as a mother, it hit me to the core. She cried for hours. My husband said to me, and I'm just replaying that whole day for you for a moment.
Yeah.
She cried for hours. She at one point turned blue. He had to breathe into her mouth. She kind of came to, caught her breath, didn't think anything of it. We called the doctors and they were like, give her Tylenol. We did. She slept it off for 4 days with a fever. 3 days rather. On the fourth day she woke up. She was a completely different kid. Completely different kid. She stopped babbling, didn't have eye contact, all the things. So I absolutely will die on this hill that there is a vaccine injury that happens that causes neuroinflammation in the brain, all the things. So I really think that we have to be careful when we say vaccines don't cause injury, doesn't cause autism. It definitely causes neuroinflammation that also mimics autism, symptoms of autism, such as self-injurious behaviors, OCD, tics, etc.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on all the research studies out there that says that, there's no difference between like that regression happened with my daughter. Happened with my daughter. That regression of, not having autism, not appearing to have autism, responding to her name, communicating well, and then going backwards. And that's an experience that a lot of people have. And if you look at, the research, that there's dozens of studies out there, millions of kids, and there's no difference in the amount of time that autism occurs, whether they're vaccinated or not. What are your thoughts on those studies?
Well, I don't know studies firsthand. I only know lived experience. I do also believe that studies can be influenced based off of big pharma, pockets, etc. So I don't really have a fair answer for you on that.
We do know one of the vaccine studies was fraudulent for sure.
Right.
The Wakefield one, I'm sure you know of, right? From the 90s, I think 98, is that right? Or 2000, I don't know, it was right around there. And
I don't remember the year.
it was the only case that we know of that Big Pharma tried to intrude on the vaccine research was when Big Pharma had a separate MMR vaccine that they wanted to push. And so they falsified data to say that the current MMR caused autism so that they could push their own. That was the Wakefield study. And so we do know big pharma influences, but unfortunately the only time that it's been spotted that we have evidence of has been to try to perpetuate this belief that autism is caused by vaccines.
Right. So what would you say to a parent who believes that that their child developed autism after having a vaccine?
Yeah, I first of all would relate with them of how terrifying it is to have a child that you knew and feel like you lost that child, and it's extremely traumatic. I would then talk about how we do know there are side effects of vaccines. We know that fever is a common side effect, which can give the immediate impression that something is off.
Right,
So
but
if your
then this
child
is
is
where the
going
whole
to
Tylenol
regress,
thing
if your
came in.
child is going to regress, which happens typically 12 to 18 months, you're going to start seeing a fever, and a child that was going to regress, maybe they start seeing it then because their child's off with a fever. And so I guess my other question is like, how do you know that it was the vaccine and not something else going around at that time? Like your child also, I don't know, saw a computer screen. Why don't you think it's looking at screens? Or it was, maybe they had a banana that day. Why wasn't it eating the banana?
Well, because that would have been the only thing out of the ordinary that was injected or an external something into her system. Sorry, I'm a little sleepy, so my brain's
That's okay.
not getting
I
all
am
my
too.
words together.
Freaking daylight
it's an
savings time.
external.
How is daylight savings time
Right,
treating
I'm
you?
so screwed up. I am so screwed up with this. I'm like, I'm ready for bed. I feel like it should be like midnight. It feels so bizarre.
Yeah.
It was the only external thing
Yeah.
that would have been out of the ordinary for her that day.
Yeah, that day. And could you agree that maybe it caused like a fever or even a seizure possibly?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
And so
But
if your child
stemmed
was going to
from-
regress and you can pinpoint a clear time that the regression started, I think it would be really easy to see that like, oh, my child had a fever and had a seizure. And then ever since then, I've noticed they've started to regress. I think it would be really easy to pinpoint on the vaccines, even though like whether they didn't have that vaccine, they wouldn't have had the fever, or if they had a seizure, they wouldn't have had the seizure, but the regression still would have happened. That's what the data says.
Right.
That's what
what
the studies
What
say.
about the what's the word for it? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I'm having this brain fart. But the metals that are in, I think someone just posted too, as I'm trying to say it, the metals that are in your aluminum, the mercury, those kind of things do not belong in the body, but they are. And even fetal, what the heck is it? I can't even think. Someone maybe in the chat can help me. Fetal embryo, what is it? Aborted fetal cells are in vaccines as well. I mean, like there's so much stuff that's in the vaccines that do not belong in the body.
Yeah. So
yeah, there's some metals that we need, but we don't need mercury and we don't need aluminum
can I
in
talk
the body.
about the mercury
We
and
need,
aluminum a little bit here?
yeah, if you have more knowledge on that, I would love to hear that.
I do have some context here. So
Okay.
the mercury, there's two types of mercury. There's ethyl mercury and methyl mercury. There is ethyl mercury in only one vaccine. It's the flu vaccine, not given to babies. So there is no vaccine that contains any type of mercury, and even the flu vaccine, a variation of the flu vaccine that has the ethyl mercury, is not the same that's associated with mercury poisoning. As far as the aluminum goes, throughout the childhood, it is estimated that a baby is going to get about 2 to 4 milligrams of aluminum in the vaccines. And you hear that and it's like they're injecting aluminum into the body, and it sounds crazy. It sounds like it's going to cause autism until you realize that. When was the last time you had Tums? Have you ever had Tums before?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, I have.
In one thing of Tums, it has up to 200 milligrams of aluminum. Throughout the entire vaccine schedule, it's 4 milligrams. Tums, it has 200 milligrams. Processed American cheese, one slice of American cheese has 5 grams of aluminum. The vaccine, 2 to 4 milligrams throughout the entire extent.
Wait, can I just say something about the block of cheese, the cheese? Only because I just learned recently that actually Pfizer owns. Is it that they own the cheese company, but they're putting, they put stuff in the cheese. So obviously that would make sense. It just made me giggle. But someone did say something on here. I'm just trying to scroll as you
But
say
it's
it.
all food is what I'm saying. Aluminum's everywhere. It's not something that's like out of the
Right.
ordinary. That's like, oh my gosh, don't put that in my body. It's such small amounts. Breast milk has more aluminum than a child will get throughout their entire vaccine schedule. Breast milk does twice as much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good thing
you
to learn
have
about.
data in front of you. I don't, and I can only speak on lived experiences and as a maternal instinct as to what we experience. And I don't
Well, you
think that
lived a
that should be
traumatic event.
dismissed either.
Yeah, you lived a
Right,
traumatic.
absolutely.
That's terrifying. So I feel where it
But
came from.
I see what Stephanie
you're
wrote.
lying. I don't have any ill feelings. If anything, it's a terrible. I don't wish anybody to have a child regress. I don't wish that upon anyone.
Stephanie wrote, and I think this is a point I was trying to make
Yeah.
when I first came on. Brain injuries mimic ASD. Doesn't mean they're autistic because they regress, which is absolutely true. Then there's also that component of the whole Tylenol debacle that went around. It had to do, and I don't know if I'm going to get the words right, so I'm sorry if I don't, but it has to do with if the child gets a vaccine and they have a fever and we're told to give Tylenol, we were told to give Tylenol, something about is it the glutathione or?
Glutathione. Yeah.
Do you know what I'm referring to?
The glutathione and the gut health.
No, I think what happens is giving the Tylenol blocks something, which may have to do with glutathione, which would then help the body detox. But the Tylenol actually becomes a blocking agent from the body naturally detoxing it. I'm sorry, my brain literally is fried, so I apologize that I'm not getting it right.
It sounds like there's a theory of like Tylenol can cause this to happen, and maybe that's what's contributing to it. We do know that,
and that's what I'm getting to it as well.
Yeah, we do know that there was one study from Harvard that showed a correlation between Tylenol and autism risk during pregnancy. Now, there were confounding factors to that, one of which is, when do you take Tylenol? Well, you take it when you're sick, when you have an infection. And we already have data to suggest whether you have Tylenol or not, infections during pregnancy are correlated to autism. There's also some other confounding factors involving siblings that I don't fully understand, but have been ruled out in meta-analyses since then, showing no meaningful correlation between Tylenol and autism during birth. We have a whole bunch of risk factors of what can impact autism beyond the 90%, 80 to 90% that we know is genetic. There are environmental factors. But we have failed to identify a single risk factor from after birth. Like during birth, if you're prematurely born, that can be a risk factor, but that's the last risk factor that has been established in the research. And so I would love for more research to happen on that and various risk factors. To me, it's pretty convincing that that autism develops during the very fragile early stages of brain development, not after the baby is born and the brain is already developed largely. But I am all for more research into it. I think what bothers me is that like there's so much research already into vaccines and autism, and the people who feel strongest about it haven't even looked at the studies. And so if you really feel like it does, please just read through the summary that I have in my bio of like what studies have been done to discuss vaccines and autism, because everyone says, oh, but it could be. Like we can't say that it can't. And even they just updated the CDC website to say it's not scientific to say that that vaccines don't cause autism, because you never know. It hasn't been proven that it cannot. And that is such a ridiculous statement, because you cannot prove a negative in science. It's literally impossible. We could do 1 million studies and still not be able to say like with 100% certainty, because it's impossible to prove a negative. Just like we can't prove that clapping your hands doesn't cause autism, or prove that, holding a plastic bottle doesn't cause autism, or talking on the phone. None of those things have we proved doesn't cause autism. I'm talking too much. You need to interrupt me more. Be ruder
No,
to
I'm
me.
not going to interrupt you because I kind of, this is going to be so rude, but I'm going to be so, I kind of tuned it out because not on purpose, I was scrolling through the comments because, I really want to see what the people think. Like, is it cutthroat? Absolutely not. No vaccines, vaccines haven't done this, or have they had this experience and they feel this way? I feel like more people maybe need to hop on and join this conversation because I can say my lived experience is XYZ. I feel this way, and not that I'm shut down. And I understand, like, you can have all the criteria in front of you. You can have the studies in front of you.
Yeah.
But it's really hard when my heart and my soul tells me this is the experience I had with my child. Yeah. And this is that I'm talking about the child that's not even profoundly autistic.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one that's functioning. Never mind the one that's profoundly autistic. He had so much trauma from moment of delivery.
Yeah.
The moment that him and I went into that I can't even say. I think that there was so many factors as to what caused his autism. I think there's environmental. I think there's trauma. I think he also had a virus that, lasted so long. But I will say in that regard that, we're now dealing with pandas, neuroimmune conditions that they just wanted to bump up psych meds when really looking at it as a neuroinflammatory condition. Prednisone and antibiotics changed my child back to who he was before we had severe self-interest behaviors. And I'm talking hours long, daily, for months of trauma of my whole household in crisis, fight or flight. If you come and take a look at our page, I share our story about it, and you can see how scary it is. So understanding neuroinflammation that does happen from vaccines, or it's not just autism, is crucial, and having medical curiosity is so important, because here it's being looked at as, oh, this is autism, but what about all the other things that coincide
autism
with it?
is such a broad spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, if we were to design a study to show that vaccines can do this, can cause autism, because you're right, there are a lot of parents who think that vaccines caused autism. Can you think of a way that you could design a study to really show that?
No. No, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that you could. You can compare. You can look at who has an autism diagnosis, and this will just be mass amounts of data, right? We're talking like so much data, and we look at who has been diagnosed with autism, who has been vaccinated, who hasn't been vaccinated, and then you can determine if there's a statistically significant correlation. And when they do that, they haven't been able to find that. And you wouldn't have to, I say that, and a lot of people are like, yeah, it doesn't happen every time, and so it's not going to show that. No, this is like, even if it happens 1 in 100,000 times, it shows up as statistically relevant in the statistics. And so, yeah. Anyway, Bobby, you're great, and the way you're advocating for your kid is amazing, and I want to urge caution with this idea of like encouraging people, if they feel like vaccines could have contributed, to speak up and fight it, because I think if you actually do a deep dive in the research and take the hour to figure out the methodology and what the research said, I think it could ease your mind a lot. And it doesn't discredit from vaccine injuries at all. It's just the link between autism and vaccines that it's
right. And maybe
about.
that's the curiosity, is the link between vaccine injury and what that looks like.
Yeah.
versus autism.
Yeah.
You know, and more of that awareness. And I'm open to it, and it's fine. And it's not, I'm not one of those diehard vaccines cause, autism.
Yeah.
No, I think that there's
You just had a
so
traumatic
many
experience, a very real experience that your kid lived through, and you're seeing it through that lens.
But I also thinking discrediting a parent and saying that it doesn't cause it. I could say the same for you too, is that I would, use caution with that as well, because, I really do feel, first off, I want to say that I've watched you grow overnight on TikTok. Literally, I think it was like the first week that you came on, like I was on live with you and I watched your platform grow. And I even had my husband listening the other day, and you made him giggle with something that you said, so, and there's some things I disagree with you on, or there's things I might say, stay in your lane a little bit, only because it's like this protective place that it's like, ooh, because that's a sensitive subject. I'm aware that things are sensitive subjects, and I will absolutely say, the quiet parts out loud. I have no problem doing that.
Love it.
But I think as long as everyone respects each other's own views and opinions, it's all good.
Yeah.
Not to discredit anyone or their feelings, because then we get stuck in that.
Yeah. But this idea of having to continually research this when it's been done dozens of times, it's harmful to the autism community, because we could be spending more. I want to research leucovorin. I really want more info on leucovorin. I am pumped about it. But right now, the RFK's advisory board has publicly stated, at least one member, that her entire intent of being on the board is to ensure that all of the resources, I think $200 million going towards autism research, goes towards vaccines and autism. And they have a child that they believe it happened to. And so
I am actually meeting with 2 people from the board this week. I have calls this week with 2 people on board. Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to them too.
Connect hardcore. I wanted to connect with you so bad.
I would love to, because
to let you know all that's going on. Yeah,
there is sufficient evidence on that, and there's so much more promising things that we need to prioritize. And the researchers are the ones who know this. And I'm not a researcher. I just am involved in this field just like you are. But here's the thing: is it's okay. Look. I will change my mind the moment there's data in front of me. And right now I have an abundance of data showing zero correlation between vaccines and autism. It is
right. And you're a data-driven person.
Possible. And so I'm going to keep advocating like that. And if someone wants to disagree, if you feel passionately that it happened to you and it's happened to others, you can go out and sponsor and support a research study, get it peer reviewed, and publish it. Research is not terribly difficult, especially with AI now. Have ChatGPT help you draft and prove it in the data that this has happened. But people have tried that. So many people want to be the one to discover it. Everyone wants to be the one to discover that vaccines cause autism. Every single time they publish, the researcher is hoping for this answer that vaccines cause autism, because then they'll be known as the one who discovered it. But time and time again, I have not been able to be sent a single study out of the dozens and dozens that there are indicating any correlation between vaccines and autism. So I'm going to keep advocating until I see the other.
No, I gotcha. I didn't want you to, I didn't want people to feel attacked.
No.
But I appreciate the data.
This is exactly how I want these conversations to go. This has been perfect, because your story
I love
is
it.
valid.
And I'm sorry that I've had tired brain today. But, and the one thing that I really respect about you is the data, because the data is what I fought for 2 years at my neurologist to explain to him, listen, this isn't just autism with my son. It is my ABA tracking. It's the data that mom's taking at home that's seeing the correlations with every time he's getting sick, severe regression, SIBS. He was showing signs, tics that looked like tardive dyskinesia, or it looked like he was having seizures, and I was dismissed by a couple doctors, my neurologist most importantly. And I said, I will die on this hill, but my data is showing otherwise. And then I saw another doctor, and he was like, yep, it sounds like textbook PANS, let's start a treatment. And when I tell you, it was a different kid in 3 days.
And see, PANS and PANDA, I will stay in my lane 100% there. I am not well versed in that for sure. I need to research that for sure a lot more.
So I do respect the data aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you
But
for the
thank you. I
conversation.
appreciate you
Please
letting me come on.
please keep advocating for your kid. Thanks for being here, and we'll stay in touch for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
have
All
a
right.
good
You have a
one.
good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, it is daylight savings time, you guys, and that means it is about time for my children to try to go to sleep, and for the next hour and a half fail to go to sleep, but we're going to try anyways. So I'm going to go upstairs and help start that process with everyone. If you are new here, make sure you're following me. Hit the follow button right there so you can find me next time I go live. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.